Hey, my name is James Nicholson. We've got some new data on the state of the rental market. There's more landlords leaving the market, and it really is starting to get a little bit faster. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to tell you why there's an influx of landlords trying to leave the market now. That might slow down at some point early next year as well. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about where we sit with property rental arrears. Is that increasing? Are people able to afford their rent at the moment? I'll give you some stats on that will alarm you maybe if you're a landlord, and if you're a tenant, you might really understand and agree with these as well. So there's lots to talk about here today. So before we jump into this, maybe you're new around here and you're wondering, what is this channel all about? Well, it's about property investing, it's about house pricing, it's about mortgage rates, and much, much more. So if you are new, do subscribe to the channel over here and hit that bell notification. We have new content every single day. And let's get some views on this actual video. Do me a quick favor by smashing like, tickling like, doing something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that's how we grow the channel. So thanks to everyone that does that. So what's going on? Well, unless you've lived under a rock, you know that rents have been rapidly rising over the last year or two. They're a measure and a number that is counted in the inflation data. And that's why I don't think the Bank of England has got the best approach to these interest rates at the moment. You see, when inflation increases, as it did, to 11% or whatever it was, and a lot of people disagree that it was at 11% and it was even higher than that, what you would normally do is you would increase interest rates, and that would push down demand, and that would mean that prices invariably would then drop because sellers would need to be competitive in order to get the sale. But a lot of the inflation at the moment, or in the last year or so, was on the service side. It was stuff that you couldn't control. It was things like your energy costs, which you have to heat your property. Regardless, maybe you'll use a little bit less. But it wasn't through reckless spending from people or anything like that. And that is where this was a little bit of a problem. And so the interest rates went up. That put huge costs onto landlords, because landlords pay interest-only mortgages. So if they had a 2% mortgage that went to 4%, their mortgage doubled. Some people's payments went to 6%, so their payments effectively tripled. That meant that got passed on to tenants as rental increases. It made the market really, really tough for a lot of people. Some landlords just couldn't put the price up. And on top of that, they know that they've got something called the Renters' Rights Bill coming, which will worry a lot of people. So I'll address that shortly as well. So at the moment, 35% of people will struggle with rent or mortgage payments. Now, this doesn't mean that they're not paying them. It means that they're struggling to make that payment, right? Rental arrears are up, mortgage arrears are up, but people are making payments. But it is a struggle for people. Some people are having to get other jobs. Some people are just cutting down on all of their spending on discretionary stuff, and they're going to have quite a tight Christmas this year. So that is a concern. Even if you are a landlord that's getting paid, you want your tenants to be able to afford your rent, because you don't want problems in the future. You don't want them to get into rental arrears. So that's one thing that is a concern. And maybe some landlords see the writing on the wall there and think they want to leave because of that. But one of the main things that landlords are saying, the reason why they're leaving, is the Renters' Rights Bill. And this is coming out in 2025. So the Renters' Rights Bill, in summary, changes quite a lot for tenants, and a lot of it's good and some of it should be there, and I totally agree with that. Some of it, they need to look at some alternatives though. So we've got things in there that, like a rolling tenancy. I don't see a problem with that. That means a tenant comes in and you don't have to renew the tenancy every year. If you've got a good agent, then they'll do periodic inspections. They'll do periodic rate increases with inflation as well. So no problem there for me. You've got to consider whether you'll allow pets in there. That worries some landlords. Not a problem for me. I've got tenants that have got dogs, for example. You've also got to consider people on benefits. You've got to consider lots of other factors into that. So these are things that you'll be forced to consider. There'll be a landlord register made so you can find out if there's a good landlord or a bad landlord. That's important. But the biggest worry on this is something called Section 21. This is called no-fault evictions. Very controversial topic. Landlords like to be able to get their property back quickly if there's a problem. So if a tenant smashes up your house or they don't pay your rent, you want to be able to get that back quickly. And you can do that with a Section 21. You can get the property back within a couple of months. Very easy to do. However, they're looking to take that away. That means that you'll have to look at something called a Section 8, which means that would be a fault eviction, smashing a property up, or rental arrears. But that goes for a court, and that can take 6 to 8 months. So for 6 to 8 months, before you even file this, you're probably in arrears 2 or 3 months with rent. Then you might not, or unlikely to get rent for that period of time as well. And so the rental arrears could add up to 9 months. Now, most landlords could not afford that. And that would wipe them out or even make them potentially lose that property. So this worries them. And lots of landlords are just retiring and giving properties back. That's good because those properties become houses for first-time buyers, etc. But it shrinks the rental market significantly. And that's why we're seeing rents go up at record rates. So that's very, very important. But there's also a rush of landlords to leave at the moment because stamp duty goes up on April the 1st. So the thresholds are dropping massively for first-time buyers. A landlord property is likely to be something that a first-time buyer would be attracted to because it's likely to be a smaller property. You don't get lots of landlords renting out 5-bedroom houses. They're normally flats and small houses. They're first-time buyer properties. And so there's a big push from landlords to exit the market at the moment, to get a first-time buyer or get somebody else to take that property for them and complete that transaction before the 1st of April because the buyer benefits significantly from a lower stamp duty. So that's one reason as well. Now, of the properties on the market, there are 30% more buy-to-let properties for sale now than last year. That is a big jump. That shows us that there is significant exodus still happening in the market. And what that shows us is after April, I think you're going to see a big squeeze on rents again. Lots of landlords at that stage might slow down the exodus because they're trying to get through before the stamp duty holiday ends. But at that stage, you could have a much smaller rental market. There's no one really building to replace those. And that means renting a property could get very tough for a lot of tenants. We've got conversations that we've had on this channel where there are people that watch this video, watch our content from Scotland, that say when they go to a property or if they list the property for sale, agents we're talking about here or landlords, they're getting 200 people apply. So in Scotland, we've got things like rent controls and all of these things that have been put onto the market up there. And it's making that rental market really hard. While it might keep some of the rents down, it is increasing other rents. And it is meaning there are so many people going for the same property. So there is still a landlord exodus. And I think it is going to continue. I think when this renters' rights bill gets closer to being active, you'll see even more leave. That's not good for renters. And I don't think it's good for the market. I think you need to have something that works for landlords and something that protects tenants as well. All the stuff that protects the tenants in there, I have no problem with. But I do think the Section 21 is worrying a lot of people. Let me know your thoughts, questions, observations, or opinions in the comment below. Do give me a like on this video. Do check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.